Voidable contracts. 1390. So the following contracts are voidable or annullable even though there may have been no damage to the contracting parties. Number 1. Those where one of the contracting parties is incapable of giving consent to a contract. Number 2. Those where the consent is vitiated by mistake, violence, intimidation, undue influence, or fraud. Okay, so we have two kinds of voidable contracts here. The first kind is when one of the parties is incapable of giving consent. So there is what we call here incapacity to give consent, no? And number 2, the second type is when the consent is vitiated by mistake, violence, intimidation, undue influence, or fraud. So we are talking about here the vices of consent, the 5 vices of consent. Okay, let's discuss first the first kind of voidable contract, which is when one of the parties is incapable of giving consent. Okay, so we have there Articles 1327, 1328, and 1329, meaning if you're going to read 1390 class, you have to cross-refer this provision to Articles 1327, 1328, and 1329. Article 1327 provides that the following cannot give consent to a contract. Who are they? First, unemancipated minors, that's number 1. And number 2, insane or demented persons. And number 3, deaf mutes who do not know how to write. So Article 1327 provides for numbers 1, 2, and 3. Kana daw silang tulo, 1, 2, 3, they are not capable of giving consent to a contract. Why? Kanang unemancipated minors, meaning these are the persons who have not yet reached the age of majority. And what's the age of majority? 18 years old. So pasabot, 17 years old and below na sila. So because of age, you're considered minor. You're considered unemancipated minors. Ma-emancipate lang ka when you reach the age of majority, which is 18 years old. So when you are considered unemancipated minors, you are still subject to parental authority. So pasabot, if you are a minor, let's say you're 15 years old, and you sold your car, kay gipaitan mo kag car sa imong parents, to, let's say, to B is the buyer. So the contract between you and B is voidable. Why? Because you, as a minor, you are not capable of giving consent. How about number 2, insane or demented persons? Let's say you become insane, no? We don't know for whatever reason. But always remember, class, that the presumption under the law is that all persons are sane. So meaning, kapag mo claim ka nga insane ka, you have to prove it. Okay, dapat na i-proof nga buang ka. So dapat na ay medical records, no? Na expert to prove that, let's say, sa medical field na mga experts to testify that you are indeed insane. Okay? Because the presumption is that a person is presumed sane. So what if insane jud ka, then nagbaliya ka sa imong car to B gihapon? So in that case, the contract of sale of the car, now between you, the insane person, and B is voidable because being an insane person, you are not capable of giving consent. How about number 3? Deaf mutes who do not know how to write. Under the law, class, if you do not know how to write, necessarily, you do not know also how to read. Kaya ang mga deaf mutes who do not know how to write, they are considered as persons who are incapable of giving consent. So if you are incapable of giving consent, then the contract you enter into would be considered voidable. Okay? So here, what if the deaf mutes know how to write? Then the contract would not be voidable, meaning that deaf mute who knows how to write is capable of giving consent. Pero if the deaf-mute does not know how to write, then that's the time that the deaf-mute is incapable of giving consent. Hence, the contract would be voidable. So question, what's the reason behind Articles 1327, 1327, sorry. The reason is that kining mga tao can easily be victims of fraud. Why? Because they are not capable of understanding or knowing the nature or import of their actions. They can enter only class into a contract through a parent or a guardian. So that's the time na kanang kontrata that they enter into, if they are represented by their parents or represented by their guardians, then the contract would be valid. But if the contract is entered into by them personally, not through a parent or not through a guardian, then a contract entered into by those persons who are incapable of giving consent would be voidable. Okay? How about Article 1328? 1328 pertains to contracts entered into during a lucid interval. And those contracts are considered valid. And also 1328 pertains to contracts agreed to in a state of drunkenness or during a hypnotic spell are voidable. So we have there number 4 and number 5. So if you're in a state of drunkenness, hubog kayo ka, then you enter into a contract of sale of your vehicle, then that contract of sale is deemed voidable because you're in a state of drunkenness. How about during hypnotic spell? Gihypnotize ka. Tapos because of that, gibaligyan mo imong vehicle. Again, that contract of sale that you entered into during hypnotic spell is voidable. Now, kanang lucid interval, unsay pasabotana, meaning kanang mga insane class na mga tao, naapod na sila'y lucid interval, meaning na sila'y temporary sanity, temporary period of sanity. And if those insane person, during their lucid interval, enter into a contract with another person, then such contract is valid because if they enter into a contract of, let's say, sale during a lucid interval, during that temporary period of sanity, murag nabalik man ang ilang sanity, no, na-regain man nila, kaya considered valid ang contract. Okay? So, same reason ng gihapon class, ngano ang persons in a state of drunkenness and persons during hypnotic spell, if they enter into a contract, the contract is deemed voidable. Again, it's because these conditions in a state of drunkenness and during hypnotic spell are equivalent to temporary insanity gihapon. No? So the law considers a contract entered into in a state of drunkenness or during a hypnotic spell voidable. Okay, voidable. And number 6, other disqualifications provided by law. Okay, now let's go to the 5 vices of consent. That's the second type of voidable contract. So we have the consent, which is vitiated by mistake, violence, intimidation, undue influence, or fraud. So we will discuss each of these vices later. Let's discuss first error or mistake. That is provided under Article 1331. Okay? In order that mistake may invalidate consent, it should refer to the substance of the thing, which is the object of the contract, or to those conditions which have principally moved one or both parties to enter into the contract. Okay. So here, under 1331, we have the third, qualification, so that error or mistake may invalidate consent. The third one is this: mistake as to the identity or qualifications of one of the parties will vitiate consent only when such identity or qualifications have been the principal cause of the contract. a simple mistake of account shall give rise to its correction, and it will not invalidate consent. Okay. So here, number 1, substance of the thing which is the object of the contract. Like for example, this is mistake regarding the object, no? If the mistake is regarding the object, then such mistake will invalidate consent. Okay? For example, A is buying from B a racing horse, but actually B is just selling kanang normal lang na horse, na dili pang racing. So there is mistake as to the substance of the object. Kasi A is really wanting to buy a racing horse. Si B, abi po niya, ang gusto ni A, kanang horse lang nga, ordinary horse, normal lang na horse. So in that case, there is a mistake as to the object, the substance of the object. Hence, such mistake, okay, is considered a vice of consent. So in that case, the consent is vitiated because of mistake as to the object. Next, conditions which have principally moved one of the parties to enter into the contract. Like for example, A is selling his land to B for 1 million pesos cash. Abi ni B, gibaligya ang land for 1 million pesos, installment ang payment. So nisukot si B. That's why, because of that condition, kay abi ni B, payable in 2 years, no? So B bought the parcel of land sold by A. So that condition principally moved B to enter into that contract of sale, believing that it was sold for 1 million pesos payable in 2 years. Pero di ay si A, ang iyang gusto, ang 1 million shall be paid in cash, outright diretso, no? Automatic. And because of that, there was a mistake as to that condition. Kaya ang gusto abi ni A, nakasabot si B nga cash, diretso ang bayad. Si B pod abi ni B, gina-offer ni A for installment na payment. So in that case, such condition principally moved one of the parties, which is B, to enter into the contract of sale. And so, such mistake, kay abi niya, payable in 2 years, dili man di ay. So, wa sila nagkasinabot. Hence, the mistake there invalidates the consent of B. Okay? So, the consent of B is vitiated by mistake. How about number 3? Identity or qualifications of one of the parties have been the principal cause of the contract. Identity or qualification, let's say, si Piolo Pascual. So, abi nimo si Piolo Pascual jud to. That's why you offer the person a contract na mag-concert sa inyuhang lugar, kay fiesta sa inyuhang lugar. Dili dayto siya si Piolo Pascual. So there was a mistake as to the identity because you thought si Piolo Pascual kanaong raday ni Piolo Pascual. Tapos nag-enter na mo into that contract na mag-concert siya sa fiesta. So in that case, class, since you enter into a contract with that person believing that he was really Piolo Pascual, that was the principal cause of the contract. So, nagkamali di ay. So, in that case, your consent is vitiated by mistake as to the identity of Piolo Pascual. Next, vice of consent. We have Article 1335, violence and intimidation. So, there is violence when, in order to wrest consent, serious or irresistible force is employed. There is intimidation when one of the contracting parties is compelled by a reasonable and well-grounded fear of an imminent and grave evil upon his person or property, or upon the person or property of his spouse, descendants, or ascendants to give his consent. Okay, violence. We have there physical force. Like imo siyang gikulata, imo siyang gisumbag, Ingon mo siya, di ka mo pirma sa kontrata kay gusto, because you want to buy the property of that person, of that farmer, kay dako kayong iyahang yuta. Gusto nimo paliton at a much lower price. Di man siya masugot, imo siyang gikulata, gisumbag. Moingon dayon ka, pirma ka o dili? Pirmahin ni kay sumbagon pata ka. Okay? So gikulatan nimo siya, imo siyang gipugos by employing violence, by employing physical force upon that person. So in that case, kung imo siya gikulata, tapos nipirma siya, because you employed violence upon him, then the consent of that person is vitiated by violence. Okay, how about intimidation? Wala nimo siya gikulata, pero imo siyang gitutukan og baril. Ana ka, if you will not sign, okay, in this contract of sale, pusilunta ka. So in that case, na kahadlok, no? Na fear, na intimidation, na threat. The threat is internal, even without physical force. Hadlok jud siya. So because of that, ni pirma siya, kay ingon mang kapatyo nimo siya, pusilon nimo siya. And in that case, katong iyang pirma, katong iyang consent sa contract of sale is vitiated by intimidation, sorry. Okay, so that is 1335. Napugos pagpirma, napugos pag-enter into a contract of sale, napugos siya paghatag sa iyang consent because of violence and because of intimidation. Another vice of consent is undue influence. Article 1337. So there is undue influence when a person takes improper advantage of his power over the will of another, depriving the latter of a reasonable freedom of choice. So the following circumstances shall be considered: the confidential, family, spiritual, and other relations between the parties, or the fact that the person alleged to have been unduly influenced was suffering from mental weakness, or was ignorant or in financial distress. So here, undue influence class, there is no physical and moral compulsion. Wala nimo siya gihadlok, wala po nimo siya gikulata, okay? Walay physical force, walay violence, walay intimidation. Unsa man ni? There is improper advantage of power over the will of another person. Like for example, mo ni siya moingon ka nga, you took advantage of the person's weakness, no? Like for example, the person is in financial distress, kay utang, walay kwarta. Pero na siya'y lupa, na siya'y kayutaan, na siya'y farm. Gusto nimo paliton, pero at a lower price. So sa may mong gihimo. So because that person is in financial distress, is in dire need of money, gi-offera nimo siya na sige pautangon ta ka para makabayad kasi mo mga utang. I will lend you money, pero kay pautangon man ta ka, ibaligya sa ako ang imuhang farm at a much lower price. O diba? There is undue influence there. If that person will sign the contract of sale, then his consent is vitiated by undue influence on your part, okay, over his will. Or let's say, nagyapon siya farm, gusto niya paliton, pero di niya ibaligya sa imuha, and then what happened was, nagkasakit iyang anak, wala sila kwarta pambayad sa hospital, nag-offer ka sa imuhang help. So you paid all the medical expenses. But ginag-ingon ka, kay gitabangan man ako imong anak, ibaligya sa ako ang imong farm at a much lower price. Nisugot siya kay utang na loob. So in that case, you took advantage, no, of that person. So there is undue influence. Hence, the contract of sale entered into by that person and you is deemed voidable because the consent of that person is vitiated because of undue influence. The last vice of consent. One of the vices of consent is fraud. Article 1338. So there is fraud when, through insidious words or machinations of one of the contracting parties, the other is induced to enter into a contract which, without them, he would not have agreed to. Okay? Fraud. Na-discuss nato ni siya 1170, di ba? Pagpangilad, no? Insidious words or machinations. There is bad faith, intentional no? There is bad malice to cause injury or damage to another person. So, intentional siya. Fraud, gituyo, no? In contrast sa negligence, wala gituyo. Fraud, gituyo. So, mangingilad kang dako, no? Nangilad ka, that's fraud. Nag-employ kang fraud. Okay, so again, kining fraud class, duha ni siya kinds. We have fraud in the execution of the contract, or dolo cosante, and we have the fraud in the performance of the contract, or dolo incidente. Okay? So what is the fraud that we are referring to here under 1338 that would invalidate the consent? That would make the contract voidable. So it is fraud in the execution, or dolo cosante. Kanang first kind of fraud, mao na siya ang fraud na maka-invalidate ng consent. Ang fraud na maka-vitiate ng consent. Okay, that's the first kind of fraud, and that is the fraud that we're talking here under 1338. So meaning class, you employed fraud precisely to secure the consent of the other party to enter into the contract. So for example, mayong kasayahan nga, you buy this ring, this diamond ring, kay tinuo jud ni nga diamond ring. And so the other person nituo sa imuha, no? Imo siyang giilad. Nituo siya sa imuha, and so that inducement, okay? Because of that inducement class, the buyer entered into that contract of sale, the sale of the diamond. Someone ang fraud in the execution, or dolo cosante. Kasi without which, kung wala ito yung pagpangila, di siya mag-yes, di siya mag-enter into a contract of sale with you. How about fraud in the performance, or dolo incidente? Here, class, there is already a valid contract. No? A valid contract already exists. Dili siya voidable. It's just that ang fraud dito na sa performance sa obligation, or sa fulfillment ng obligation ni mo gi-employ. Like for example, you enter into a contract of sale of 10 bottles of wine, and then sa pag-deliver, 9 bottles of wine lang ang imuhang gi-deliver nga wine jud ang sulod. Katong ika-10 nga bottle, no? Ika number 10 nga bottle ang imong gibutang tubig. So in the performance, in the fulfillment of your obligation, you employed fraud. Giatik nimo siya, giilad nimo siya. Nag-ingong ka, nag-promise ka nga 10 bottles of wine, pero sa pag-deliver na, ang imong gi-deliver 9 bottles of wine lang, ika-10th bottle, water ang sulod. So, in number 2, mao na siya ang sa 1170. Remember? And that is a ground to recover damages. But sa number 1, that is a ground for annulment. Pag may annulment class, ipa-annul nimo ang contract of sale. Imong ipa-cancela, pawalang bisa. Because kung sa rescissible contract, ang remedy is rescission. Sa voidable contract, ang remedy is annulment. Okay? Annulment. So, in fraud, you should remember also these particular provisions, 1339 to 1342. Okay? First, failure to disclose facts when there is a duty to reveal them, as when the parties are bound by confidential relations, constitutes fraud. Okay, so dili kinahanglan nga iingon nimo ang tanan. Like for example, you bought a car. You bought it for 200,000 pesos, and now you are selling the car for 500,000 pesos. So are you in an obligation to tell the buyer na 200,000 ragod na akong pagpalit, tas ibaligyan ako sa imuha ng 500,000? No, you are not under any obligation to tell the buyer na ing anang nahitabo. You are not under any obligation to disclose such fact to the buyer. Wala, kung di nimo to iingon, okay ra, you will not be liable for anything. Okay? Dili ka required under the law. Unless, class, you are bound by the confidential relations. Unsa man na? For example, you are partners sa partnership. So, karon, somebody outside the partnership is interested to buy the partnership property. Let's say, naay property ang partnership nga parcel of land worth 10 million. And ikaw, si A, ikaw, nakabalo ka. Nga, naay outsider, si C, who is willing to buy the property at 10 million. Okay? Pero, ikaw A, gingnan nimo si B ang imong partner. Nga partner, pwede paliton lang nako tong imong share sa partnership sa katong land. Palito na lang nako og 5 million ang land. Sa ako na lang ibaligya ang land. Okay? Namang kay share dito, no? So, palito na ko 5 million, then na kay share dito sa 5 million. Nisugot po si partner, si B. Not knowing nga naay gusto mo palit at 10 million. Okay? Kasi kung nabaligya to siya kay C, 10 million, mas dako ang makuha ng partnership. Diba? Mas dako ang share ni B. So, sa 10 million, tag 5 million each mo. But here, sa 5 million na imong offer nga ikaw ang mupalit as a partner sa partnership property, 5 million mo lang, gamay lang siya. So, here, the act of A is fraudulent. It is fraud. Why? A has the duty, A is obliged to disclose the fact that C is interested to buy the property to B. A is under an obligation to disclose such fact to B that C is willing to buy the property at 10 million. Pero sa gibot ni A, iyang gisekreto para makuha niya ang yuta at a much lower price. So that is fraud there. Okay? Fraud why? Because A is required, mandated by law, to disclose such fact to his partner, to B. Why? Because they are bound by confidential relations. Remember that a partnership is based on trust and confidence. No? Confidential relations, fiduciary relations. So, dapat open ka sa imong partner. Kaya dapat maka-benefit both you and your partner sa partnership. Dili kay ikaw lang ang maka-benefit. Number 2, usual exaggerations in trade when the other party had an opportunity to know the facts are not in themselves fraudulent. Mo nang ginatawag class nga caveat emptor. Let the buyer beware. So, dili ka motuon ng mga istorya lang. Kabalo man ta unsay tinuod. Diba? Kung nagpaatik gihapon ka, then it is your fault. Okay? Example, kanang shampoo. Makita nimo sa commercial, grabe ka shiny, sa iyang hair, ka straight sa iyang hair. Anong paggamit ako? Nipalit ko. Diba? Anong paggamit ako sa shampoo, let's say, Rejoice, Palmolive, anong paggamit na ako? Gahi, manggihapon ako ang buhok. Dili man paretong sa commercial nga shiny, nga straight. So, question, makonsider ba nimo na fraudulent, na nag-employ og fraud, ang sa commercial? No. Why? Because you had the opportunity to know the facts. Pwede jud ka mangutana, diba? Pwede ka mangutana sa tinuod jud nga naka-straight ang hair, maka-straight og hair, maka-shiny, ang kana nga shampoo. Diba? You had the opportunity to know the facts. Pero wala nimo gi susi kung maka-shiny ba jud og hair. So that is what we call, class, that usual exaggerations in trade are not in themselves fraudulent when you have the opportunity to know the facts. Okay, like for example, A is selling to B his parcel of land, let's say in Davao City, sa Mintal, Davao City. So ikaw, B, you had the opportunity na adtuan ang property, diba? Kung tinuod ba dyan nga si A, ang tag-iya sa land. Pag adto nimo dito, hala, na may nagpuyo, dili man pod related kay A. Wa man gani sila kay A. Pasabot di ay si A na nga tikra, dili dayto niya property of another person. Okay? And since you have the opportunity to know the facts, then si A is not really employing fraud. No, because in the first place, you had the opportunity to know the facts. Pero kung wala kayo oportunidad to know the facts, then that's the time na those usual exaggerations in trade are fraudulent. Okay? So, kanang mga shampoo, kanang mga, isa pa, mga facial, mga cosmetics, no? Mga facial wash, mga lotion na pampaputi. Okay? So, sa commercial, puti man kayo, ano wapang ko ni puti. So, remember, usual exaggerations in trade, they are not in themselves fraudulent. No, kung gwapo kayo ang buhok sa model nga nasa commercial, kanigamit siya Rejoice, Palmolive, Pantene, then pag shampoo nimo, nganong di man gyapon straight imong buhok, nganong buwaghag man gyapon imong buhok. Okay, so that's another example of usual exaggerations in trade. When you have the opportunity to know the facts, they are not in themselves fraudulent. Okay, next. A mere expression of an opinion does not signify fraud unless made by an expert and the other party has relied on the former's special knowledge. Okay? So, kung na-expert sa jewelries, tapos ningon siya nga palitan ni siya kay gold ni. Pero siya expert, siya kabalo siya nga dili to gold. And because nag-rely ka sa iyang special knowledge, special skills, kay siya, expert man siya sa jewelries, nagpaila man siya nga expert siya sa jewelries, so nag-rely ka sa iyahang knowledge. And because of that, nipalit ka sa jewelry. So, in that case, katong nga contract of sale, ang imuhang consent is vitiated. Okay? So, such expression of an opinion made by an expert, tapos nituo ka, you relied on that opinion of such expert, tapos mali di ay to, giatik di ay kaniya, then that is fraudulent also. Such act is fraudulent. Okay? Lastly, we have misrepresentation by a third person does not vitiate consent unless such misrepresentation has created substantial mistake and the same is mutual. So now please remember that when it comes to misrepresentation class, if it is a third person who committed the misrepresentation, as a general rule, it will not be a ground for annulment of the contract. But if the misrepresentation has created a substantial mistake on both parties, then it is a ground for annulment. In that case, the contract is voidable. Okay? So here, what are the remedies when we are talking about voidable contracts? What are the remedies available to the innocent parties, to the aggrieved parties? So we have either of the two. Pwede niya ma-invoke ang action to file an annulment or an action for ratification sa voidable contract. First, let's discuss annulment. Okay, what do we mean by annulment? That's a remedy available sa voidable contracts. No? So when you have a voidable contract, you can annul such contract. Okay, you can file for an action for annulment. So annulment is a remedy provided by law for the declaration of the inefficacy of a contract based on a defect or vice in the consent of one of the contracting parties in order to restore them to their original position in which they were before the contract was executed. So here, class, annulment, same ang iyang consequence sa rescission. Mutual restitution lang gihapon. Mag-inuliay lang gihapon sila. Okay, mag-inuliay. When we say annulment, there is mutual restitution. Pag ipa-annul nimo ang voidable contract, pasabot, ang consequence ana, mapawalang bisa ng kontrata, then there is mutual restitution between the parties. Mag-inuliay sila. Kung nakadawat kag 1 million, ibalik sa 1 million. Katong yuta nga imong napalit, ibalik nimo sa seller. Ikaw seller, ibalik nimo ang money you received from the buyer kay buyer. So mo ng mutual restitution. But there is an exception, class. Restitution by incapacitated person. That's Article 3099. So when the defect of the contract consists in the incapacity of one of the parties, the incapacitated person is not obliged to make any restitution except insofar as he has been benefited by the thing or the price received by him. So ang general rule, kapag incapacitated person ka, meaning ikaw ay minor, or ikaw ay katong insane, or ikaw ay katong deaf-mute who does not know how to write, okay? Ikaw katong demented person. So meaning, ikaw katong incapacitated person. If you are the incapacitated person, class, once the voidable contract is annulled, you are not obliged to return kung unsa man ang imuhang na-receive. Except, mao ni siyang exception, except insofar as you have been benefited by the thing or the price that you receive. Okay, for example, minor sold his car to B. B is an adult, so the contract of sale between them is voidable. So, minor sold the car for 1 million. So, tuwa na ang 1 million kay minor, then ang car na kay B. So once the contract of sale, which is voidable because of the incapacity of the minor, is annulled, what will happen? Mag-restitution sila. Ibalik dapat ni minor ang 1 million kay B, si B ibalik ang vehicle kay minor. But again, because the minor is incapacitated, no, to give consent, then the minor, as a general rule, is not required to return the 1 million, except, class, if ang 1 million, no, naka-benefit sa iya, naka-benefit siya sa 1 million. Like what if, ang 1 million, gasto niya kay iyang palit og basic necessities. So, kung nagamit to niya kay pampalit sa iyang basic necessities, then ibalik niya ang 1 million, worth 1 million. Okay? Or sa 1 million, 500,000 lang iyang nagamit sa iyang basic necessities, ibalik niya ang 500,000 na iyang nagamit. How about kung wala nagamit ng 500,000? The minor is not obliged to return the 500,000 na wala niya napuslan. Ang iya lang ibalik katong amount na napuslan niya. Okay? So again, if the minor is not benefited or the incapacitated person is not benefited, he is not obliged to restore what he had received. But the other contracting party, katong si B, is still bound to return what he had received, whether he was benefited or not. Okay, so the incapacitated person is obliged to make restitution only to the extent that he was benefited by the thing or the price received by him. Kung wala niya gigamit ang 1 million, di niya ibalik ang 1 million. Wala man siya naka-benefit sa 1 million. Naalang sa iyang drawer, gitago niya. Pero kung gigamit to niya sa iyang mga basic necessities, napuslan to niya sa iyang education, that's the time na ibalik niya ang amount to the extent that he has been benefited by the money, by the 1 million pesos. Okay? So who can file? 3097 provides that the persons who can file an action for annulment Kinsa? Of course, katong innocent persons, aggrieved persons. So, kung si minors or katong other incapacitated persons, katong insane, deaf mutes who do not know how to read and write, so kato lang silang makafile ng action for annulment. When? Kung minor ka, makafile lang ka ng action for annulment when you reach the age of majority. Okay? When you reach the age of majority. Or kung ang imong consent was vitiated because of intimidation, violence, and undue influence, from the time na katong intimidation, violence, or undue influence, nag-stop na, nawala na, okay? Then, that's the time that you can file an action for annulment. How about mistake or fraud? Kano sa ka makafile? From the discovery of the mistake or fraud. Okay, from the discovery ng mistake or fraud. So question, what's the prescriptive period? Pila ka tuig lang ka pwede makafile ng action for annulment? Is it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years? The same sa rescission. Kanus alam. So, under 1391, okay, you go back to 1391, that would answer your question as to the prescriptive period. The action for annulment shall be brought within 4 years. Reckoning point again, in case of intimidation, violence, or undue influence, from the time that the defect of the consent ceases. As to mistake or fraud, from the discovery of the same. As to minors and other incapacitated persons, from the time the guardianship ceases, meaning from the time na capacitated na sila. Okay? So that is annulment. Annulment, i-annul, ipawalang bisa. Ibalik sila sa status quo, sa original position in which they were before the contract was executed. Before we discuss ratification, the second remedy now available to the innocent parties, to the aggrieved parties, under voidable contracts, let's discuss first annulment versus reformation. So remember, going back to mistake or error, both parties to the contract committed an error or mistake, okay, to the legal effect of the agreement. So what is important here is that the real purpose of the parties is frustrated because there's no meeting of the minds because of that mistake or error. Such mistake or error vitiates the consent of one of the contracting parties. So again, the remedy would be annulment of the contract because there is vitiated consent. Now, what if you entered into a mortgage contract with another person? Let's say A and B. So that was the intention between A and B, to enter into a mortgage contract. And then, as written, it was actually a contract of sale. And then you signed it. Ikaw si A, you signed it. Ikaw si B, you signed it also. So what is your remedy here? Because A and B thought that it was a mortgage contract. Okay, but as written, ang nasa papel, contract of sale di ay. So would it be annulment, ang remedy? Of course, no. The remedy there would be reformation. So what's the difference? So you refer to 1359, okay, sa reformation. In reformation class, there is actually a meeting of the minds. Sa annulment kasi there is none because the consent there is vitiated. So here, in reformation, both of you, A and B, agreed on a mortgage contract. It just so happened, class, that maybe, no, Not your fault, but the fault of the one who drafted the contract or the document, or maybe the fault ni A, or maybe the fault ni B. Ang nasulat dito sa written contract na is a contract of sale. So there, your remedy is reformation. Okay? Why reformation? Because there was actually meeting of the minds between the parties that they would enter into a mortgage contract. Nagkamali lang sa written. Namali lang pagkasulat. Dapat mortgage contract ang nasulat, contract of sale. So, sa may mahitabo, reform lang nila, reformation meaning the real intention of the parties lang i-reflect sa ilahang kontrata, sa written contract. Mauna siya ang reformation. Okay? The real purpose, the real intention of the parties there sa reformation, no? I-indicate lang, i-reflect lang sa written contract. Okay, so again, sa reformation, there is actually meeting of the minds, but it was not reflected on the contract. Sa annulment, the real purpose of the parties is frustrated, so no meeting of the minds. Sa reformation, there is no vitiation of consent, but sa annulment, there is vitiation of consent. Lastly, the other remedy available under the voidable contracts, we have ratification. So what do we mean by ratification? That's voluntary approval or adoption of defects or unauthorized acts. Okay? So here, sa ratification class, once you opt to avail of this remedy, then the action to annul, katong annulment, is extinguished na. Meaning, you can no longer annul the voidable contract because you opted to avail of the remedy of ratification. You opted to ratify the voidable contract. What do we mean by ratify? What do we mean by ratification? Pwede siya express, pwede siya tacit. Express meaning iingon jud, no? Pwede written, pwede po verbal. Iingon jud ni innocent party because the person who can only ratify the voidable contract is the innocent party, the aggrieved party. The guilty party cannot ratify the contract. Same with annulment. Only the innocent party can file for an action for annulment. Okay? So ratification, unsa man na siya? For example, si minor, di ba? Minor sold his vehicle to B. B is the adult there. Si minor, of course, si A, si minor. So in that case, class, kano sa lang pwede ma-ratify ni minor? Ma-ratify niya when minor reaches the age of majority. Or, pwede po na ma-ratify sa guardian ni minor. Okay, di na kailangan maghulat si minor to reach the age of majority. Unlike sa annulment, that minor has to wait, no? Na ma-reach niya ang age of majority before the minor can annul the voidable contract. But here in ratification, the guardian of the minor can ratify the voidable contract. Okay? Pwede. Provided that the guardian is an innocent party also. Okay. So, for example, si minor, gibalikan niya yung vehicle kay B. So, pwede, upon reaching the age of majority, the minor can ratify the voidable contract. Unsaon mamingon si minor, okay, ipadayo na lang nato ni. So, nagbayad naman kag down payment, katong minor pa ko, karon na I am of legal age, dawato na ko tong imuhang balance. So, pasabot, pag madawat na ko ang balance, then, the voidable contract is now being ratified. Pwedeng ana, kay very express. Giingon jud ni minor nga okay, i-ratify na ko ang ang atong voidable contract. Voidable man gud ni because by the time that I enter this contract with you, minor pa ko. Okay, karon nga dili naman ko minor, i-ratify na lang nako. Dili na ako siya annul because the minor has two options there. The minor can either annul the voidable contract, ipawalang bisa, mag-inuliay sila, Or, minor can ratify the voidable contract. Dili na niya ipawalang bisa, ipadayo na lang niya. So, kung si minor, ipadayo na lang niya ang contract of sale, so dili niya ipa-cancel, niya ipa-annul, then, ang contract of sale now, from voidable, magiging valid na siya. Okay? Kaya gi-ratify na siya ni minor. So, mo nang pasabot sa ratification. Pwede siya express katong iingon jud, pwede po tacit lang. Dili na iingon ni minor na i-ratify nako. Pero ang gibuhat ni minor, gidawat niya ang balance, ang remaining balance, outstanding balance ni B sa katong purchase price. So, kag gidawat man nimo ang balance, pasabot, gipadayon nimo ang contract of sale. So, meaning, ratified siya tacitly. Okay? Without even mentioning, no, such ratification. So again, what's the effect of ratification? It cleanses the contract from all its defects from the moment it was constituted. It's as if, class, katong time nga si minor o si B entered into that contract of sale, it's as if na katong nga time valid ang kontrata. It's as if si minor na ay capacity to enter into such contract. Kasi retroactive ang effect. It cleanses the contract from all its defects from the moment it was constituted. So kung December 2020, gibaligyan ni minor yung vehicle. So minor pa siya ato, voidable. Then pagka 2022 of legal age na siya, giratify niya 2022 ang voidable na contract of sale in 2020. So what will happen? Retroactive ang effect. It's as if valid na ang kontrata from 2020 pa lang. Okay, not from the time of ratification, but from the time that the contract was constituted. So that is ratification. So mutually exclusive sila. If you avail of the remedy of annulment, dili na ka pwede maka-ratify. If you avail of the remedy of ratification, di na ka pwede maka-annul. So mag-choose lang kag isa lang, dili pwede duha-duha. Okay? Kaya in 3092, it provides that an action or meaning ratification extinguishes action to annul a voidable contract.